Hi, my name is John Niec. I'm the Director of Learning at cPrime, and today we're going to begin a series on how to effectively read questions for the PMP exam. This is a three-part series. This is the first one, and in this one I'll give you an overview of our strategy and our methodology for effectively reading questions for the exam. So first, ignore the paragraph and go directly to the question mark at the end of the paragraph. So what would be the next thing to do? What would be the best thing to do? What would be the first thing to do? Those are the kinds of things you're looking for. Then, without reading the question, the answers. And in the exam, you'll have A, B, C, or D. There'll be 4 choices. Read those 4 choices and understand what they mean. When you've read the 4 choices, you may find that you can eliminate one of the 4 choices, maybe even 2 of the 4 choices, just by keywords and triggers that those choices have offered up. So you'll eliminate the wrong answers. The next thing to do is read the entire paragraph question. So you go back to the top, read the question, and then after you've read the question, now you reevaluate, are the ones that I've eliminated still eliminated? You have to rethink that. But because you've already read the answers, you know what you're solving for. And in some cases, you'll even find that knowing what the possible answers are helps you read the question more effectively. Then finally, make a selection. So you may have eliminated 1 or 2 of the wrong answers by this point. You're going to make a selection of what you think is the right answer. I'm going to walk you through a sample of a question and how to read the question. So the first thing I do is I ignore the paragraph. I go right for the question mark. What should you do? Now I'm going to read the answers. A, cancel the status meeting. B, call the customer and explain the situation to them in confidence. C, explain to your boss that it is unethical to knowingly withhold information from the customer. Or D, tell your manager that her request needs to be written. So I've already got an idea for myself that I don't like answer A. Answer A is cancel the status meeting, and I would call that a type of escape. Now the next one, B, call the customer and explain the situation in confidence. I'm calling out the word confidence because confidence is not something that's desired. Also, when we would escalate something, we'd probably escalate it to our upline, not to the customer. So the escalation path is wrong. So there's 2 reasons I don't like B. 1, the escalation path is wrong, and 2, that it's got this notion of being confidential. 3, explain to your boss it is unethical to knowingly withhold information to the customer. That answer, I'm leaving it on the table because that could be a valid answer. I don't know the question yet, but I still could leave that one on the table. And D, tell your manager that her request needs to be written. I'm hedging away from that one because that seems to be a little bit of making sure that my bases are covered instead of being what a project manager should be doing. Project manager asking for something to be in writing, a request to be in writing, unless it's part of the contract, that seems a little bit like overkill. So now let's go back and read the question. You are preparing for a status meeting with your main customer that is happening this afternoon. In your report, you indicate that the SPI is 0.94 and forecast a delay in the completion by 45 days. That's generally not good news. So the idea here is that the question's setting you up for, there's some not good news here that needs to be presented. Your manager has asked you not to disclose this to your customer, even though she agrees with you that there isn't a cost-effective way to compress the schedule. So now, here's the dilemma. You have bad news, and you've got your manager asking you not to disclose the bad news. Because we've read the answers already, we're not as affected by the dilemma that the question is designed to create. Because we've already read through them, and we already know that we're hedging towards C. We're aiming for C. C is probably the better answer. So when I look at that and then review my answers again, I still would leave A off the table. It's a form of escape. And B is in confidence, and that's also off the table. So it's now down to C or D. And C is a much better answer, to explain to your boss that it is unethical to knowingly withhold information from the customer is much better than tell your manager that her request needs to be written. So can you do this on every single question? Will it work? It won't work on every question, but if you get into the habit of reading the questions this way, by reading the question mark, reading the answers and eliminating the wrong answers, you will be a better question reader. I would say that there's a significant percentage of students who report that early on in their preparation for the exam, that they're misreading the questions. And by reading the questions better, they can improve their score. You can improve your score. You can improve your score just by reading better. And how do you read better? By deconstructing the question, and by deconstructing the question, read the answers first. Try that out.